5 assets to retire before age 30. Most people in America are trapped in a lie. Go to school, find a steady job, and retire at 65. But look around. Inflation is eating your paycheck, and the job market is tougher than ever. If you're 22 and holding a hopeless resume, I have good news. You do not need a good job to be wealthy. You need assets. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down 5 specific assets that helped me and thousands of other young people fire their bosses before age 30. The fourth one is something 99% of people think is a scam, but it's actually the most powerful money printer of the 21st century. Do not look away, because your ticket to freedom starts right now. Most of you hunting for jobs think a 6-figure salary at a big company equals freedom. But the truth is, in America, a high salary is just a gilded cage. If you stop working, the cash flow stops. To retire before 30, you must shift from being an employee of money to being an owner of money. Your first foundation is paper assets, specifically index funds and dividend stocks. Imagine that instead of lining up to buy the newest iPhone and spending money, you own Apple stock. Every time someone else buys a phone, money flows into your pocket. This is how you lay the first brick of your empire, through compound interest. However, there is one reason 90% of young people fail at this step, even when they buy the right index funds. Before I show you the optimal index fund portfolio to reach retirement, there's a life or death question you must answer. Why has the S&P 500 grown for 100 years, yet most individual investors still lose money? The answer is not on the chart. It's a psychological variable that the top 0.1% call the behavior gap. If you do not fix this knot, you will still end up empty-handed when the market has a minor correction next year. Do you actually know what happens to your money when the market bleeds red at 2 in the morning? The answer is simple but incredibly hard to do. Automate your discipline. The elite never tried to time the market. They use a strategy called dollar cost averaging. They buy steadily regardless of the price. They understand that volatility is the tuition fee for long-term gains. By setting up an automated investment system from your very first paycheck, you remove emotion entirely. You do not play games with the market. You turn the market into a passive wealth accumulation tool, where time is your greatest ally, not your enemy. When you own the 500 largest companies in America through the S&P 500, you own the growth of the global economy. Every dollar you put in today is not just money, it's a soldier working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never asks for a raise and always reinvests profits to create more soldiers. Do not try to beat the market, own the market. Accumulating paper assets is how you use compound interest to buy back your future freedom using today's spare change. But listen, if you only rely on compound interest, you might have to wait until you're 45 to retire. To shorten that timeline to before age 30, you need an asset that can scale without a massive amount of capital. That's when we enter the world of digital real estate. You're always told that if you want to retire early, you should buy real estate. But with a starting salary and home prices in cities like New York or Austin being sky high, owning a commercial building feels like a pipe dream. That's why 99% of young people give up and accept renting for life. But the top 0.1% have a different path: real estate crowdfunding. Instead of waiting 10 years to save a down payment for a rundown apartment, they use 1 month of salary to own a piece of a shopping center or a luxury high-rise. You don't need to be a traditional landlord to collect rent every month. However, there is a dark side to this model that advertising platforms never mention. Before you throw your first $1,000 into a hotel project in Florida through a phone app, stop. Here's the key question. What happens when you need cash fast, but your asset is tied up in the bricks and mortar of an unfinished project? Unlike stocks, which you can sell in 1 second, real estate is a slow asset. If you don't understand preferred equity structures and commitment periods, you could have your capital buried for 5 to 7 years right when you need it for a life-changing opportunity. So how do the rich benefit from real estate without getting stuck in this liquidity trap? The answer is choosing platforms with a secondary market or public real estate investment trusts, also known as REITs. The elite never put all their eggs in one building. They split their capital across 10 or 20 different projects through these trusts. This way, they get the real estate profits but keep the flexibility to pull their money out if they need it. They don't own the brick, they own the cash flow from the brick. They understand that in the race to early retirement, the velocity of capital is more important than having your name on a physical deed. You start receiving dividends from the rent of giant corporations and luxury hotels without worrying about fixing a leaky pipe or chasing down tenants for rent. You're leveraging the brainpower of top real estate experts to get rich yourself. You don't need to be a millionaire to own property. You just need to know how to invest smartly through technology. But remember, real estate and stocks still depend on external markets. To truly hold your destiny in your hands and create massive cash flow without asking a bank for permission, you have to create the third asset type. I call this the brainpower money factory. Stocks and real estate are great, but they have one fatal flaw. You need money to make money. So what if you're starting from zero or only have a few $100? The elite don't wait to save up capital. They create assets out of thin air using digital products. Imagine spending 2 weeks writing an ebook or designing a financial management template on Notion. You only make it once, but you can sell it to 1,000 people, 10,000 people, or even the whole world while you sleep. This is an asset with near zero marginal cost and infinite scalability. However, there is a black hole that most freelancers and creators fall into that makes their products never sell a single cent. Before you start filming your first course, here's the brutal reality. Thousands of digital products are launched every day, but 95% of them vanish because no one cares. Why is it that 2 people with the same knowledge have different results? One person sells millions while the other sells nothing. The problem is not your video editing or your book cover. It's a concept called the unique mechanism. If you don't find this, you are just adding noise to the internet, not an asset. How does the top 0.1% package their knowledge so customers feel like they are buying a solution instead of just information? The answer is simple. The elite don't sell general knowledge, they sell specific results. Instead of a course on how to use Notion, they create a business operating system for creative agencies on Notion. They don't sell a healthy cookbook, they sell a 15-minute dinner roadmap for busy Americans. By narrowing the focus and solving a clear pain point, they turn their product into a must-have instead of a nice-to-have. They don't look for millions of customers, they look for 1,000 loyal fans ready to pay a premium for a real solution. This is the only asset you don't need bank permission, you don't worry about the housing market, and you never run out of stock. You convert your 24 hours into a permanent money printer on the internet. When your digital product income passes your monthly salary, that's when you truly retire mentally because you're no longer trading time for money. Converting your knowledge into a digital product is the fastest way to hit passive income because you do it once and profit forever. But listen, even the best digital product needs one thing to run: attention. If no one knows you exist, you sell nothing. This is the peak. Asset number 4 is what tech billionaires crave more than gold. We live in an era where the old rules of wealth have been shredded. Why can a 20-year-old in a bedroom filming YouTube videos earn more than a Wall Street lawyer with 20 years of experience? It's not the degree, it's an invisible but incredibly powerful asset: attention. In the modern economy, a YouTube channel, a newsletter, or a personal brand is not a hobby, it's a 24/7 money printer. It's the only asset that multiplies its own value with zero operating costs. The elite call this the new oil. But here's the paradox. Why do millions of people make content every day and stay broke? Before you grab your phone and start filming, here's a cold truth. Views are not money. Some people have millions of followers but still work a day job because they can't convert that attention into an asset. The deciding question is, how do you turn those vanity metrics into real cash flow? If you just chase the algorithm for 15 seconds of fame, you're building a house on rented land owned by Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. How does the top 0.1% build an empire that stays wealthy even if a platform crashes? The secret is a filter that 99% of amateurs ignore. The answer is, own the community, not the views. The elite don't play the viral game, they play the trust game. They move attention from public platforms like TikTok or YouTube to private platforms like an email list or a closed community. When you own the trust of a specific group, you no longer depend on ads. You can sell digital